welcome to my channel. I am so excited to be able to teach you how to draw this beautiful Easter lily. Our first step is going to be to draw our pencil guides, and we're going to do this in 2 steps. Step 1 is going to be to sketch out our general layout. So we do this with lines and circles just so that we can place our main flower as well as the buds and the leaves in order to build from that later on. And after this, we're going to do a more technical pencil guide for our main flower because that is going to be the main focus of our design today. So this design is going to have 1 main flower and then 3 small buds up the top, and those top buds should just look like ovals. And then we're going to do a few leaves here on the bottom, and don't worry about sketching them correctly right now. I will be doing this part in pen so that you guys can see a little bit better, but usually with lilies on the stem they have quite a few leaves, so I'm drawing probably 5 or 6 here at the bottom. Now I'm going to erase the lines that are inside this main circle because this is going to be our main flower, and I want you guys to be able to see the lines of the pencil guide. And so the way that we do it is that we draw 2 inverted triangles because each lily has 6 petals, 3 on top and 3 that lie behind. And so these inverted triangles help us have a nice guide for our petals. I want my lily to be looking slightly to the side, and that is why my 2 triangles are not perfectly centered on each other. So the next step is that we're going to do kind of from this bottom side, draw the bottom point of our center or where they're going to come out from, and this little line is just the top of that petal, which will make sense once I do the pen. And so here we have a 6-pointed star, and that is because these are going to be our 6 petals, and like I said, this is where the center is going to come out from. And so now I'm going to go ahead and switch to pen. I'm using the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen Fine Liner in order to draw this so that you guys can see it a little bit better. So as I sketch out this flower, I'm going to get started with this bottom right petal, and this is what I like to call my guide petal, or the petal whose shape I can see all the way. So this petal is not overlapped with anything, it's not hidden by anything, and in fact the center comes out from the top portion of this petal. And so I'm drawing this petal first, and from this petal I can build the center and the rest of the petals. And so now that I've drawn that petal, I can go ahead and do the center, and lilies usually have anywhere from 5 to 7 of these little filaments coming up from the center. And so choose your number and then connect them with lines to that top of that petal, and then we can get started on the rest of the petals. I just realized that I have said the word petal like 100 times already in this video, and for that I am so sorry. If it is not your least favorite word, it probably will be by the time I finish with this video because I say it so much, and I'm so sorry. Anyways, back to the flower. Now that we have drawn that first guide petal and the center, then we can build the rest of the top petals, because like I said, there's 3 petals on the top and 3 that lie behind, and so you kind of just connect it to the center, and then after that you can build the ones that are behind like this, making sure that you add some slight curve to your petals. And then when you're ready, we're going to add folds to our petals, just because petals aren't perfectly open. A lot of times they like to fold and move, and so you will add a fold by adding an extra line along the edge of the petal. So once we have completed our main flower minus the details, the next step is going to be to draw our 3 different buds that we have on the top. And so these are still closed, so they're going to be very oval shaped, and the petals are going to be closing in on each other like this. And so I'm going to do kind of like a main one and then a bunch of smaller slivers like this, going all to the same point. And so this one is going to be our biggest one, and then this second one that I'm drawing right now is going to be our smallest bud. And so having a nice size variation shows that there's different buds in different stages of maturity. I'm also going to add a little leaf here to this second bud just to add a nice touch of detail, and then from this I'm going to draw the 3rd bud behind this leaf, and that is why I drew this leaf first. So the next step is going to be to draw the stem and the leaves, and so I'm drawing the bottom part of our stem, and then I'm going to draw this leaf because this leaf is on the front part of the stem, and it's kind of hiding that point where the 3 stems diverge towards the main flower and the buds. And so I want to make sure to connect it from the center to this leaf, and make sure that you connect those lines. and so that leaf is kind of hiding that point of divergence. Once we have finished with our stem, then we can draw the rest of our leaves along the stem, making sure that they're pretty uniform in size, but not 100% the same. And so this one is going to be kind of draped a little bit to the side. One of them is kind of draping more downward, one of them going upwards. Making sure that you add variety in the directions, just because all the leaves aren't all going to be pointing up. At this point, you can add details to your leaves if you so desire. For the purposes of this video, I am only going to do the center vein along the center of the leaf. Now it is time for the most time-consuming part of drawing flowers, and that is the detail lines. And so this part is going to take a little bit longer, and feel free to take your time. This part should be relaxing and a little bit mindless, but even though I said the word mindless, I still want you to put a little bit of thought to where you're adding your detail lines. And so lilies, they usually have a pretty distinct vein going up along the center, so that is why when I'm drawing these detail lines, I have a slightly longer detail line up along the center, just to be able to mimic that. My main tips that I have for adding detail lines is to make sure that you add a variety in the length of your lines. The second is to add a little bit of curve to your lines, because if they are too straight, it's going to make your petals look really static. And my third tip is to add shorter lines towards the bottom or the bottom of the petals in order to add that depth and shadow. We are also going to go ahead and add detail lines to these buds, and all of them should kind of be curving up towards that top point. And so this could be pretty minimalistic, you know, 3 or 4 detail lines per petal. Those slivers, you might not be able to put any just because they're already so thin. So just do what you can. We just wanted to make it look like they're kind of wrinkled and that they have some shape and definition. And once you have finished adding those detail lines, then it's actually time to erase your pencil lines and be able to see the beautiful lily that you have created. And this lily you can draw on an Easter card, a Mother's Day card, in your journal. If you're an artist and want to create your own stickers, this would be perfect. But this is just a fun flower to draw for spring and for Easter and pretty much any other spring holiday. Thank you so much for joining me for today's tutorial. Come back next Friday for another flower tutorial. Thank you, bye!